who is Patrick King? And you know what? What do you do for a living? Let me lighten the topic before it gets too serious or heavy. Who is Patrick King, and what do you do for a living, Patrick?
Well, Patrick King, good afternoon to all of the viewers on the Teat show. Patrick King is a very simple person. I think that is the best way that I can put it. Born of England King and Ernest King. And this topic is a very touchy and very sensitive topic when I have to speak on it, but nevertheless I will. I went out of St. John at the age of 6. My mother and my father had a dispute, and I went out of the dispute, which was a domestic dispute, by the way. My mother would have lost her life at the hands of my father, and I was 6 years and about 7 months at the time. One of the things that I was told was that my mother was warned repeatedly because of the offensive way of which my father would operate. But obviously because that he was the breadwinner of the home at the time, providing for the house, she obviously didn't see a way that she could have let go, resulted in her life.
Sorry for your loss.
Because of that, my father, in an attempt to evade prosecution, he would have absconded his jurisdiction, leave, and he went to America at the time, and subsequently lost his life, I think shy of 2 years after he was there. Because of the graphic nature of what transpired, I then became a ward of the state until I was adopted after I reached just around 11. I just set the 11 plus exam at the time. And I was adopted by a lady called Marjorie Gill. At the time, when being a ward of the state, what happened was that in those days, they would have what we call open day. I haven't heard about it in recent times at all. And by having an open day, it gives the members of the public an opportunity whereby they could come and view whatever craft, whatever there was to showcase. They would come and view, and those persons who had an interest in buying whatever they see, they would purchase, and then the money would be accumulated and given to the persons who would have done either the craft or whatever that was.
Whatever product.
Right. So she being a part of the open day, for some reason, I believe that God had a hand in what had transpired. Nevertheless, she made recommendations and said that she wanted to adopt me, and that was it. What I can tell you is that my life had a complete 360 turnaround thereafter, in that she was the sole person who was responsible for educating me and ensuring that all that I now achieved and needed through my tender years as a child, she was the person who ensured. And I must tell you that when I leave school at 16 years old, I didn't have a CHC to my name, not one. She ensured that I go back to school. I went to the Strathclyde O-level Institute.
Okay.
Having lived there, then I went other places. Baimap was one of the places that I furthered my education. And my first degree then, I was at age 21 at the time. And I allowed her efforts. I thank God, because I believe that God would have put her in my path
to help you,
to assist me, and that is who Patrick King is today, basically.
What motivates you to get up in the morning?
But I have a personal relationship with God. The truth must be told that I am not all that God would want me to be, because what we must understand, those persons who understand things from the spiritual realm would understand that once you have a relationship with God, there's always a desire. You're driven by desire to want to do the things that is right. I dispel the notion that the Bible is written by a white man for the governance of black people. I've been hearing that spoken around all the time. I don't believe in it in any way, shape, form, or fashion. I believe that there is a supreme being, and that once we connect with him, we will not always get it right, because we must understand that this is a sinful world for which we were born, and until Christ comes again, this world will be what it is, tainted with sin. The point I want to make is that because we were born in sin as according to Scripture and shaped in iniquity, even though you're driven by desire to do that which is right, you still find yourself doing that which is wrong. And I mean, that's the reality of life, right? Because I don't like to mislead people into believing or giving an impression that, you know, you are above board and you know you don't do anything wrong. That you know, that is not me. I like to speak the truth. So I'm driven by a desire from God to want to do the things that are right. That is why I am passionate about the things that I do, simply because I believe, as I said, I wouldn't always get it right, but I
Fair
would,
enough.
you know.
But you believe in your beliefs, and at some point, I guess you stand up for what you feel is right.
Yes.
In your way.
Yes.
So you've said that you are studying law. Why law and not any other particular job description?
Strange enough, you asked me that question. You know, my first degree was in marketing. I did marketing at BIMA in 1990, between 90 and 91. Marketing is one of the things that I like. One of the things that I like. I master it very well. But what brought me into law is because when you see injustices in this life and you want to challenge the things that are wrong,
you need to understand.
You need to understand the rudiments of the law so that you can challenge those things that are wrong. But what propelled me in the direction of law was that in 2008, I was assigned as the constituency representative for Christchurch East under the parliamentary representative for Christchurch East, Dennis Law. And after there was a bit of falling out between myself and the parliamentary representative, I took up a job as a consultant in the NCC, which is the National Conservation Commission. And after he got into my way again, terminated my contract, being home, not having anything to do, one morning I was just lying down on the bed and somebody said, you know, you got to find something. You got to look for something to do, something. And somebody said, what are you doing? Make an application to Barbados Community College. Because I had seen, you know, CBC will have these as also the programs that they offer. They're offering. Yeah. So I said, well, I'll try my hand and see what happens. And to my surprise, when I made the application, I got back a response, basically in about 2-3 weeks. So I took up the offer. And I went and I did my evening classes and so on. And it was politics, political science, and law. And came out relatively good. And I decided, well, I will move on again from here. But the truth is that when I went to the University of the West Indies, the government then hadn't instituted the paying of tuition fees. I said, well, immediately I said, well, Patrick, you got a job. So how you going to do? You can get this here work out. And by communicating with I would call her my mom. She's adopted mom. I communicate. She said, listen, you feel you want to make a go out? I say, yeah, but I don't want to burden you, that type of way. I want to do things on my own. I said, but I saw a program in addition to the University of West Indies, online, with the London International, and they're offering a similar program, but I like the structure of their program.
Okay.
And I feel that I would take a chance with them. She said, well, send them a thing and hear what they say, because she lives in Pennsylvania in the States. So when I sent off the information, I got back correspondence from them, and it was
Favorable.
So I decided, well, I will go with them. So I had a vehicle that I had to sell because I couldn't do two things at one time.
Mm-hmm.
So I sold the vehicle, and I decided that I will use that as the down payment, and here I am, 3 years into the program. So, you know, I don't know for sure if when the program is completed, if I would then do the 6 months in you wouldn't, because I can do 6 months at you wouldn't then, or 2 years, depending on what happens when they reach that juncture, to then be qualified then to be able to call to the bar. I don't know, so I will wait and see how that plays out.
Okay, so you mentioned one of the reasons why you studied law. Lots of people have opinions when it comes to you and why you are doing these videos, and a lot of people say that you are probably a disgruntled DLP supporter. Mm-hmm. People have said that, and I know you've made mention. I want you to reaffirm people why you started these videos.
I am happy that you asked the question, because it has been a concern of many. Now, I need to go back a bit so that you can clearly understand what I'm saying. I was a member of the Democratic Labour Party from the time I know myself, actually. But I got in the inner circle, so to speak, where I would be canvassing and doing work for the parliamentary representative for Christchurch East in 2000. I was part of the nomination process. I was part of the committee and so on. I played an active role. And came up on May the 21st general election 2003. He had lost the elections around that time, and he wanted to give up, and I inspired him not to believe. I said, well, I believe that you will come far enough, and people have recognized you, you know, in the constituency. They think that you need to give it a go again. So we worked in the constituency, and in 2008, he was successful. The challenge I have then, still have now, and it is primarily the reason why people have a very bitter taste for politicians, is that they make a lot of promises that they do not keep. Either intentionally or not intentionally, they make promises, and then when these promises cannot be kept, rather than coming to the people to whom the promise was made and either apologize or let them know, well, something has fell in the way and this is the reason why I cannot continue or commit myself to the promise, nothing of the sort. And by canvassing, I made a number of commitments to people based on his guidance, the things that he would have said. And when, because we had a thing that every Monday, every first Monday in each month, we will have, we'll call a staff meeting to give him an update as to what's happening in constituency, what people are seeing on the ground and so on. And I find that every time I would raise issues that were the concerns of
the citizens,
the constituents of Christchurch East, it would always be met by him by a lot of snobbish behavior. And one day he said to him in a meeting on Monday, he said, but Minister, I mean, I don't think that this is the way forward for the people of Christchurch. He said, I think that if the people of Christchurch elect you, and I bring the concerns to you as to, you know, what they are saying, I think you are duty bound, you know, to see what you can do as it relates to these concerns. And it fell on deaf ears, to the extent that I challenged him, and he decided he had enough of it. One day I was driving going on here since my daughter called me and told me, Daddy, the postman brought a letter here for you. I said, a letter? But I leave Civil Science 11 years ago. Why the postman would want to bring a letter? I said, well, open the letter and read the letter for me. When she opened the letter spoke of my termination from the office. She said, well, Daddy, this man for you. I said, well, if that's what you read, that's what it is. So I said, all right, no problem. So I decided what I will do is I will have a conversation with David Thompson. I felt disappointed at the time, and I went to the St. Lawrence Gap. My wife was lying with some guys, if some folk. I told them, you know, what happened and showed them the letter and so on. We had a conversation. And I said, well, anyway, fellas are going home, because I had a long day going home. When I got to the roundabout by Purity, I received a call telling me that the guys that I live in the Gap, tell me they were now in the Lucky Horseshoe and Worthing. And that they're sitting down, and David Thompson now came in there with the Rasta guy Dopey. Excuse me. And they think I should come and speak to David. So I turned right away around the roundabout and I went up there, saw David, and we had a conversation. And David was surprised. David said, Patrick Dennis came to the cabinet today, and he never told me that you weren't working. I said, to David, if you want to see the letter, I can show you the letter. I went in the car, took out the letter, and I showed David. And David was very surprised. David said, well, leave it to me, David. And this was a Thursday. I was so disturbed. After having heard David said, I went home, went on the computer. This was about just after 1 o'clock in the morning. Book a flight to Leah and fly out the country the next day, Friday. I leave around 5:30 in the afternoon. I went to St. Lucia. While I was in St. Lucia, about 3 days being in St. Lucia, I got a call from David Thompson, personal assistant, Yvette King. She called me to tell me that David wanted to know if the 21st of August would be a good time for you to meet with him at Elara Court. I said, fine, that's okay with me. I said, I'm out the island, but I'll shorten my flight and come home. So I came home and I went and met with David, and David said, well, I would appoint you at, there's a vacancy at the National Conservation Commission as a consultant. I would assign you to the post. But, you know, David had some health challenges, and while David was running around behind his health challenges, the minister saw it fit to instruct the board to terminate my contract, and that was the position. Now, arising out of that, I decided, you're home again, you need something to do, you've got to find something to do. So I said, well, you've got marketing skills. So I start on my Facebook page and sending emails to different companies and so on, and some would respond, some didn't respond, and you know, you get picked here, you get picked there, you do certain things, you know, and that prolonged and prolonged and prolonged. And one day I was leaving home and my cell phone rang, and when I answered, I didn't recognize the number. When I answered the phone, Mayor Motley was on the other line, and she said, Patrick. I said, who's the person? She said, the Mayor Motley. I said, well, how you got my number? She said, me Barbados is a small place. That was her response. So she said, but I heard of the plight and I want to meet with you. Will you be available to meet with me? I said, well, you tell me. I don't have a job now, we're free, so I mean, you tell me. She asked me how 1 o'clock sounds to me. I said, fine. We met at 1 o'clock and we had a discussion. And I decided that in the discussion I said, you know, I really don't want to be part of a political party again. I think I've had enough of. She said, but you mean you're attempting to judge both parties by the experience of one. I never forgot those words. And I said, but I mean, to me, I believe that all are the same. She said, but you can't say that if you have not given the other party a try.
And that's the belief of a lot of people right now, is that all politicians are bad, both sides are just as bad.
Precisely. So I said, all right. I said, let me think about it and everything. And to my surprise, about 2 weeks after, I got another call. She asked me if, you know, what do you think about, you made a decision? I said, still thinking. But we had a conversation. And I said, fine, okay. So that was that, and I decided Wilfred then was the person who won the nomination in Christchurch East. And without her knowledge, I decided, well, meet with Wilfred, and I would assist Wilfred in canvassing and so on in the constituency. But because that I was going through a transitional period, where I now move from one party
To
another party, you are not fully embraced by parties so easy, simply because that people always have this uncomfortableness about them as it relates to the transition of persons moving from one party to another.
And with the word loyalty being presiding over the whole issue.
Right. So, having understood that, I decided that this is something you have to give people a chance. You know, it has to give itself a chance to work. So what we do is, if I go to branch meeting this time around, the next time around, I won't go. Get people familiar with the face, get people comfortable with it, because you know, and that is what happened. So I think
you ease yourself in and not try to jump in
right
head first.
And the truth must be told that I'm still not sufficiently convinced that I have been embraced by all and sundry, even though that a number of years would have passed, because we're talking since 2009 that I would have left the Democratic Party and aligned myself with the Barbados Party. Right?
Are you a member?
I've filled out the form, I've taken it in, but I have not had any correspondence saying, having delivered the form, that we have accepted your application and of such and such a date, you are now a member. So I cannot definitively say that I am a member. What I can say is that I've applied, and my application is with the party. I don't know for sure if the application was accepted. And this is, if you're talking again, back in 2000, and I think the 2010, 2011, somewhere around there.
In all of your videos that you have done thus far, what are you trying to achieve from your videos?
And this is a spin-off from the last question.
Yeah.
Because I must touch the point of what motivated me. When I see the injustices in this country and the things that Barbadians are willing to settle for, in circumstances where I believe that there is more, we can settle for better than what we are being given at this particular point in time. It's primarily the reason why I am driven to do the things that I do. I am unhappy and I'm uncomfortable with what's happening in my country. When I do my business, that's why one of the reasons I offer a disclaimer is to disabuse the minds of any person who will be following my videos from any notion that I, Patrick King, either have an agenda or that I have a reason, a vendetta to tear down and destroy the incumbent. That is not me. I've been asked on more than one occasion why I focus only on a particular party and which is the incumbent, and they don't hear my voice on any matters pertaining to the Barbados Party. The answer is simple. In 2008, the Democratic Party, while they were seeking office, told the electorate that they could have got the job done much better than the Barbados Party. They highlighted all of the things, the inadequacies that were happening within the Barbados Party, cost overruns, corruption, all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
Those things were accepted by the electorate, and as a result of the acceptance by the electorate, the Barbados Party was punished for any part that they would have played as it relates to the alleged corruption by the members of this administration. So we cannot seek to punish a person twice for the same offense. It can't happen. So if they were punished in 2008 for any part they would have played, for anything that they would have done, then it is only reasonable, it is only fair that you cannot now bring them into any equation that speaks to any corruption, simply because that the party that is now governing the country is now the party who said that they are the ones would ensure that, one, we will not have a repeat of what would have transpired over a 40-year period by administration that was led by former Prime Minister Whenever, and two, that there were about governance in the country. That's why whenever I do my videos, I speak directly to the corruption and governance, because that was a problem that the Democratic Party came to office and said they will address, they will correct. It has not been corrected. What we are witnessing is a continuation of what they said was
happening.
Problem, right? So that's what motivates me to deal with this administration as it relates to my videos.
You've made many claims in your videos to lots of situations. Do you have the actual proof that you say you have about these claims?
Interesting question.
People, because you'll be surprised what the public actually say. Man, he really got proof. Man, he just saying things. How come he ain't get locked up? This is the reality. This is the reality about a lot of stuff. And answer that question before I go on about is Barbados really ready for the truth? So answer the question first. Do you have?
One of the things that I pride myself on, right, is that I will never mount a platform on my live Facebook page to make any accusations against anybody unless I have the proof to substantiate it. And being a person now in my third year of law, I understand the rudiments of law, and I understand the things that are required of a person who understands the law. So I will not come to my live Facebook page to make any utterances and say anything about any person to which I cannot substantiate. What I would inform you that I'm in possession of 20 sworn affidavits of ministers who are not going to be so well going into this election, because I intend, once I am given the opportunity, I've already had solicit the guidance from the persons who commit themselves to the sworn affidavits, and I intend, wherever I got exposed, whoever I got exposed, I intend to do so. So when I speak on my live broadcast or anything, you can rest assured that I'm on to something, because I will not come and make any pronouncements about anyone unless I can substantiate it. I won't do it.
Okay. So there are many things. The Barbados thing. Are Bajans ready for the truth?
No. But what is strange in Barbados is that there's a fallacy about Barbadians that is unusual. Unusual in the sense that Barbadians like you to tell them what they want to hear. And this is primarily the reason why politicians get through them all the time. They're not ready for the truth, full stop. Don't let them fool you. They're not ready for the truth. I am not prepared to sugarcoat anything. That's why when I do my live broadcast videos, I speak and call it as I see it, because I am not prepared in any way, shape, form, or fashion to bring to the attention of any Barbadian anything that is untrue and anything that is not that cannot be proven. And if I believe that you are not ready for something, I would prefer to massage your brain first, to bring you to some sense of awareness
and understanding.
Before I can, because sometimes some people react to the truth in shock. So, and that's why sometimes when I do my videos, when I read the responses from some people, I know that they're shocked, because some people don't understand a lot of things that I'm saying happening in this country. They're naive to a lot of things that are happening. And I have to be mindful of the fact that when I'm bringing information to people, that there are individuals who will express that level of shock that if you're not careful,
They're not ready for it.
yeah, they're not ready. They're not ready for it. So that's why you have to massage the brain. That's why sometimes they will send a voice note out 3 and 4 days before, so that a person who wants to hear what they have to say
It's mentally prepared for what you're bringing forward.
Precisely. That's one of my strategies in having voice notes before I come 3 and 4 days before I do a video. 'Cause I need to sensitize people as to what to expect when I do my live broadcast video.
Lots of people think you might be looking for just a little publicity, a little fame in some form. Is this your videos about, honestly, about Patrick King, or are they really about educating the public?
I'm happy to report that thus far, when I started my live broadcast videos, I started with I think it was 406 friends. It is now at 1,600. A large percentage of those persons who would have had on my Facebook page, I know will say to the same thing, that they are thankful for a person like me. Some people went to the depths to say that I got a lot of guts, because they're saying that since what's the guy name again? CD guy.
CD?
I don't recall his name now. That more platforms on his own. I can't remember his name now.
I'm not sure.
That since him, there was no other person who was bold enough.
You mean Commercial?
No, not
Oh.
Commercial. I don't remember his first name, but they're saying that since him, there wasn't another person who would have approached this way of calling out ministers on things that are happening either in the ministries, or calling them out as ministers responsible collectively for the things that are happening in the country. And I am not doing what I'm doing for fame. I believe that there are genuine people who want to know what is happening in their country. On the eve of a general election, I don't believe that the citizens of this country should be going into an election.
Oh, somebody said you're talking about Eric Seeley.
Right, that's it, right.
Right.
Going into a general election blindfold to the extent where they do not know. And the truth is that I have a sense of individuals wanting to know the truth, that they can make an informed decision. Now we must understand, Greg, the future of our people is at stake, and that we cannot at this time play with the future of ordinary rectangular Barbados. And I believe that I have a responsibility, and a fiduciary responsibility as well, that if I'm equipped with any knowledge, that I should step forward and bring to the attention of those persons who are ignorant to what is happening around them, to bring that knowledge to them and bring them to some measure of awareness that they would now be in a position, very quick, to make informed decisions for themselves, not only for themselves, but for their children and their children's children. Our future, as it stands, now hangs in the balance. The dreams, the hopes, and the aspirations of ordinary Barbadians are now in peril. We're speaking about an economy that has virtually collapsed at the hands of the members of this administration. And the truth is, what must be told is that these are individuals who came to office. Some might have meant well, but because that there was this blatant disregard for some measure direction as to how and to accept from individuals in the know how to proceed going forward. We find a case where people are now advising themselves And it's a very dangerous road to travel. It's a very dangerous road to travel. And that's the challenge that we're having. So I believe that having seen this on the horizon, that I have a right and a responsibility as a citizen to do whatever I can to pull it back so that the hopes and those dreams and aspirations for which I have just spoken will not now go by the wayside. Can you imagine a mother with 2 children? This is a house, this is a reality. I visited a house a year and a half ago, and the lady, while she was hesitant, she decided she would let me in. I had a conversation with the lady. You know what the lady told me? The lady told me that this is my son, that's my daughter. Daughter get up with the front chair, she went inside her bedroom. The lady said, listen to me, right? You came here and you asked me to vote for Dennis Law. And I did exactly what you told me. You know, you come here, you're asking me to vote for Wilfred Abrams. I want you to listen to me carefully. This was a year and a half, 2 years ago. The lady said, listen to me. I have a mortgage to pay, car loan to pay. My daughter and
The son.
son, both of them, got accepted at university residence. She told me, you know what the challenge is? Excuse me. Tell me the challenge is, right? Is that I can only have a loan for one individual. I chose him, upon that descent, over her because I felt that my son was doing better. She said it has caused a rift in this household.
We're having to choose.
Having to choose. To the extent that my daughter and myself does not enjoy the best of relationships. That's what women tell me. Right? Now, the point I want to make, Greg, is that this happened to a woman, a mother, who through no fault of hers, yes, that's I don't know again the fresh quote. This happened to a mother who through no fault of hers had to make a decision between her son and her daughter being educated receiving tertiary education at the university. So I believe in those circumstances that I have a right, equipped with the knowledge, to come forward that those other persons who might now run into this same challenge, if we can have a 360-degree turn away from where we are heading, somebody, families will be saved from the hands of the members of this administration who are not now guiding the country in the direction for which I think the country should be going.
There's a few people, I can go back to another question that a lot of people even ask me. What's the difference? And then the difference between 92 and nobody in voting. How do you feel about those persons? Not only if you don't like them or anything, but how do you feel about persons deciding that they're not going to vote because they think neither party are going to make a difference?
I would encourage all right-thinking Barbarians who believe that they want to see, you see, but Greg, this is driven by motivation. If you believe that your country, if you are unhappy with where your country is at this time, and that you believe that your country should be far better than it is now, the only way that this can be realized is by virtue of your participation in any exercise to move it in the direction to which you would like to see it. But to remain mute, to remain put, and decide that you are not going to have any input at all in any direction for which you want to see your country, then the only person to be blamed for the standstill of your country is you yourself. So I would implore any person who's now challenged with the fact that the two parties are the same. What you need to do is do your research, because that is not true. Let me say what is not true. The Democratic Party, when I was associated with the Democratic Party, it was a spin-off from the philosophies of Erbar. What is unfortunate about the Democratic Party at this time is that it has now moved away from the philosophies of Erbar. That is the challenge. So the party does not now stand for the things or the fundamental principles and pillars for which it once stood. It has moved away. Let me explain. Free education was one of the mantras upon which the Democratic Party would boast. Healthcare, housing, and such like. If you watch how the members of the administration would have operated over the last 10 years that they were in office, you will see that there was a gradual move away from the philosophies of Erbar. But what is noteworthy, though, Greg, is that they will still continue to point individuals in the direction of Bar by telling you that Erbar did this, he did that, he did the next, he did that. But the philosophies of the party are not now realized simply because that there's a movement away. No. If you look at the Barbados Party, those persons who understood the Barbados Party from way back as Grant the Adams time coming down, you will see, even though that people associate we call the white merchant class to the party, there's always some measure of success. Watch it. In 1994 to 2014, if you look at the success rate in that period of a Barbados Party and measure it against the success rate of the Democratic Party over the last 10 years, it's chalk and cheese. You'll see that the Barbados Party operate all the time with a vision. That's one thing that I recognize about the Barbados Party. There is always a vision. If you pull the Prime Minister one side now, to this afternoon, and you say, Prime Minister, can you help us to better understand where would we like to see Barbados in 2025 or 2035? I believe the Prime Minister will tell you to come and have a drink with him. He will not respond to it simply because he doesn't have the answer. Now, I've listened to the Prime Minister and addressing the Chamber of Commerce yesterday, read the article. There's only one thing that stood out for me that he said that I would support him on. All the others. The Prime Minister is now telling the people in this country about a plan in 2018 and 5,000 jobs. And I mean, come on. The point I want to make, Greg, the point I'm making, for those persons who want to know the difference. For those persons who want to know the difference, is that history would have taught us that every time the members of the administration comes to office, they are massively layoffs. There's always an economic downturn that continues to propel the country downward. There's a downward spiral. You always witness the disillusion of the middle class. Those persons who would have moved from the lower class and find themselves in the middle class, and those that were in the upper class and so on, there's no falling away from what they were accustomed to, simply because that the economy is not managed in the way that these persons who propel themselves forward cannot now maintain themselves simply because of the structures that are put in place under the Democratic Party. So I mean, but you've got to do your homework in order to be able to differentiate the philosophies of the parties and what happens, what transpires between the two parties when they are in office.
That's very interesting. Just a little side question. Have you ever considered running for office yourself?
That question was posed to me on a number of occasions. The truth is that I have no desire, to be quite honest, to be part of any political, get into any political fray and find for a seat. No. The most that I would probably do, if I was given an opportunity, I would probably serve in it. I can probably serve in the Senate because I believe I probably can do. If I can find something to do in the Senate that would help to lift the lives and move the lives of individuals forward. But I don't think that I want to be on the campaign trail, because the truth is, for me to be on the campaign trail as a candidate, I would be restricted to a number of things, because the things that I will say in my video, I can't be on a campaign trail as a candidate and say.
True.
And you must understand that when you are in politics and you are a candidate going into an election, it is not a Sunday school or church service. So therefore you can't behave as though you're at Sunday school, nor you can't behave as though you're in a church.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't think that I would manage, because I like to call it as I see it. And there would be restrictions, obviously, for how you do things. And the truth is, coming up against this crowd, if I was a candidate, I don't know how we get it done, because to be against some person, you're playing Mr. Nice Guy, and a person decide they can play Mr. Bad Guy. I don't know. Everybody to call my sure and misbehave. So I would prefer to leave it where it is.
I'm going to ask this question the way the person wrote it. Patrick, I would like to know what punishment you think should be given to those corrupt politicians, and what the BFP should do once winning office, because this needs to go not unpunished.
But the truth is, I really would like to see a lot of my handcuffs as well. Part of my problem here, right, is that what I believe is going to happen is that, should the Barbados Party capture the government in the next election, is that a lot of files are going to go missing, and a lot of things that would lead to any evidence that would result in the charging of some persons to be brought before the court will not be found. I believe, right, that this is the reason why permanent secretaries must be extremely careful at this, not only now, but from way out yonder, where when they are given instructions by minister to do things that are contrary to the law, that they should have a backup. In other words, if a minister asks me to sign off on $100,000, and you force my hand as the permanent secretary, I would ask you to draft a letter with your permission, sign it, and give it to me. And that way, I have my own evidence that when I signed off on that check to give to Joe Blow, that the minister can get his under the counter, I would have evidence that I act on the directions of the minister, that this is what the minister requested, and I act based solely on the request of the minister, so that any criminal activity will not now link the permanent secretary to any decision that the minister would have made. You follow what I'm saying? Yeah. I think that has to happen. But I honestly believe that some people should be in prison for the things that they've got, because the truth is, Greg, is that we are now, I think it is 976 or 75 million, almost $1 billion that is unaccounted for in this country. That is unaccounted for in this country. And let me pause to say this, Greg. All of the money now, see, the Prime Minister now secure a loan for 280,000 million US dollars. Barbados must be reminded that everything money is sourced, even if it is on the international capital market or if it is borrowed on the domestic market, we as taxpayers has to repay these loans. I'm longing for the day that any serious right-thinking government, I'm hoping that what should happen is that we bring legislation to Parliament where if a minister makes or negotiates a loan, and the loan happens to be a bad loan that has not benefited the country in any way, shape, form, or fashion, that his pension should be garnished to the extent where some percentage of that money goes towards the bad loan that he borrowed. But I do not believe that the entire taxpayer should be picking up the tab for the bad decisions that has been made by ministers in the crown. I don't believe so. No, and part of the reason and the challenge that we are having as a society that create the bad governance is simply this. When we have to repay loans, we borrow loans in US currency. When they are repaid in US currency. That puts a further drain on the foreign reserves. Right? Now, when a minister decides, like for instance, the Minister's Transport and Works, a loan for I think it was $60 or $65 million for a repair program. The roads in a bad state of disrepair, and no account has been given as to where the money went. So in other words, we go on the international capital market, we borrow money. Now I think this money was sought on the domestic market. When you get money, you secure a loan on the domestic market for the repairing of roads in this country. The money disappears. The roads are still in bad state of disrepair. But the taxpayers now still got to pay the loan that you borrowed. I mean, we can't be serious and continue in the same vein over and over and over and operate as though it's business as usual. I mean, somebody must be held accountable for the nonsense that's happening in this country. And that's why I feel so passionate about the videos that I do, because I believe that these things should be exposed. Do you know that out of every single dollar, we pay either 35 or 36 cents earned out of every single dollar towards loan repayments in this country? Either 35 or 36 cents out of each dollar. So I mean, where will it stop? When will it stop? And it can only stop. And I want to speak to those persons who are dissatisfied and decide that they're not voting. We cannot. It's like a second attempt to stop a car that is traveling fast and you are not inside it. You can't get stopped, so you got to get inside so you can mash the brakes. So the point I'm making is that to stay away from the polls and hold on to a position that you will not be part of a process to turn around a situation to which you are dissatisfied does not make any sense. It doesn't.
Someone also asked, Juliet asked, do you think that the voter list can be manipulated and what can be done to prevent it? And someone also asked about the ink voting, so you know who person actually voted and stuff. So what do you think about that? Yeah,
the ink is a very useful and it will serve a very useful purpose, because that was designed in other Caribbean countries to keep away those persons from voting 3 and 4 times. Our electoral system has moved away from a process such as that, and we have moved forward. The truth is, there's nothing inherently wrong with our electoral process. The problem is when the teens want to get involved. That is the challenge. When teens want to come on board, no, I'm being serious. So that's where you get the parliament voters list, and that's what I attempt to explain, I think, in 3 videos that I have done.
Yeah.
That one of the ways in which the voters list can be padded is when some clever person who believes that they have the monopoly on common sense over and above those persons who are employed to execute the task at the Electoral and Boundaries Commission, who will sit down and decipher how they can arrive at addressing boxes in various constituencies that are marginal for their candidates to win. So the method that is employed is that these persons are now moving names from different constituencies that has, because a constituency rightfully should have the most is 7,100 at any given time. That's why, because the truth is, if you look at Barbados, we should know, if you look at some constituencies, Christchurch East again, it's saying St. Philip West, St. Philip North, a lot of them are over have more than 7,000 constituents. That's why somebody got to go and do boundary changes and so on and create other constituencies. What is happening is that when you move these people are now brought on to the voters list of preferred candidates in marginal constituencies, and then this individual would have two identification cards, one for voting in their respective constituency and one to carry out a fraudulent act in the other constituency to which they are assigned. Now, if there are not individuals who are vigilant, that's why I implore all the candidates going to the next election to make sure that you keep an eye on your voters list. I've given them the remedy. The remedy is simply this: create 4 categories of persons. One, the category for persons who have just turned 18 from 2013 up until today. Create a list of those individuals. Create a list of all the deceased persons in the constituency who would have died from the last general election until this present general election. Create a list of all the persons who didn't vote from 2013 up until now. And then you create the other list of all the persons who didn't vote. 4 category of persons. When you have done that, all you need to do is that those persons who now come on the voters list for the first thing, which is 18 to 2018, ensure that you know these individuals' whereabouts, you know where they live. So that when you hear Joe Blow, you will know that if Joe Blow is in C1 box, that Joe Blow now lives at 2nd Avenue, the 3rd house, so you know the part to find Joe Blow.
Yeah.
No name should be on your voters list, and you cannot find that person. Anytime that happens, you journey to the Electoral Bonus Commission and ask them to take the name off. I've searched for this person over and over. I'm not seeing this person, therefore I want them off of my list. It cannot be a person who lives in this constituency. Right? That's one. Now, there's the one we call the transfer of names, where Maxine Lee from St. Michael South, she comes to Christchurch East. Since she's now settled in Christchurch East, she decides that she wants to give the candidate in Christchurch East for the Labour Party or the Democrat Labour Party her vote, which means that a process has to be gone through. That is, that she fills out a change of residence form. The candidate or a person acting on the behalf of the candidate will be the person who will assist her and then take in the form. When speaking procedure now, when that form is gone through at Electoral Bonus Commission, personnel from the Electoral Bonus Commission role and duty is to ensure that before an ID card is issued or before that person name appear on that list as a transfer, what has to happen is that the personnel must ensure that the same Maxine who is now moved to Christchurch East is in truth a Maxine living in Christchurch East, and that she resides at 2nd Avenue in Goodland Land in Christchurch East. You understand me? If that process is not followed, it gives rise to underhand racket by persons who don't have noble intentions. Thieves, in other words. That's what can happen. So you must be vigilant and ensure that the process is properly gone through to stamp out any of those things that is liable to occur under your watch.
Okay, so we're gonna wrap up here, Patrick. What would you like to see for a better Barbados?
The tough question. I'm sufficiently convinced that this administration cannot run the humanity affairs of this country. And it's for this reason why I believe that they should go. Because the presence of this administration in office is tantamount to a young man who is seeking a bride. He don't have a job nor a house. Then he can't take care of the woman. The point I'm making is that there's nothing that this administration has done that has demonstrated to any right-thinking individual in this country that they have the ability to manage the affairs of this country. I am confident that this administration should go. Now, because I like projections, and marketing does me, so I like projections. I would like to see Barbados in 2030 or 2035, where we start to teach our young children values and morals in schools. This generation, I think we have lost a large part of this generation. But all is not lost simply because that there is no generation is 40 years, the gap. So if we put the right systems in place at this time, we can still hold on to those that are now coming after us. And that we can change and fashion the way to such an extent that the lives of these youngsters will not be marred with the challenges that we are now facing. But you see, if we fail to put the right systems in place and we fail to do the things that has to be done, it will result in us repeating the same thing over and over again. Part of the challenge, I think, right, where we have lost our way as a society, is that religious education is not taught in schools anymore. Now, I mean, some people don't share the same view as I do. I don't believe that you should force upon a person your religious beliefs. However, I believe that we should subdivide our classes at the primary level to the extent where those persons coming out of a household that are religiously inclined should still get their feed, so to speak, while they are at school. I don't believe that it should completely abandon. And that's what we have done. We completely abandoned the whole system of values. That's why there's no respect now for law and order. That's why that everybody seems now to want to go on their own way, to do their own thing, right?
You want to bring back the balance.
Precisely, but we can only do so. That's why I'm adamant that we need to get rid of this administration, because if you're going to lead the people, you can't lead from the back. You're going to lead from the front. If you check the Bible, you will see when Moses led the children of Israel out of Egypt from the bondage of Pharaoh, Moses led from the front. Moses was at the front when God asked him to strike the rock, and when he struck the sea, you heard about the story of the sea, you read the sea, part, and Moses. But the point I'm making, right, that even if some people say as a fallacy, the story was told that Moses led them, Moses was up front. You follow that?
Yeah.
I'm saying we can't lead our people from the back. That is the problem that we are having with the members of this administration. There's no leader, there's no guidance. All and sundry are laws unto themselves. We got high levels of corruption. We got a lot of unaccounted money, taxpayers' money that's unaccounted for. People are burdened with all types of taxes. What we are seeing is individuals living large, a small percentage, while the others are asked not only to pay, but to suffer as well. So I believe, Greg, that if we want to see Barbados in 2025 or 2030 at a stage where we can be proud of where we came from. Because I don't believe in 50 years that we just celebrated. I believe we've gone 50 years back, and being honest when I say so. I think that the only thing that has changed in the last 50 years that is new to us is technology. We still got people getting pit toilets. We still got people doing all types of things, eating out the garbage can. I mean, some people say, well, they say that happened in America too. The point I'm making, right, is as a close-knit society, I believe that we can guard our finances properly enough and manage them properly enough to ensure that every single living individual, inhabitant on the soil of Barbados should be well taken care of if we manage our affairs properly. We can only do so. One, our people must come on board. I'm urging the young people, do not become disillusioned, do not become turned off and decide that you can paint everybody with the same brush, because this is how I view it. If a female employee at Kentucky use a firearm to shoot 6 people dead, I can't book the road and say that all the staff at Kentucky is murderers. I don't think I should do that, because only one person was responsible for the death of these 7 individuals. You understand me? So I'm saying, because that this administration has not kept the promises that they have made to the electorate, and because that we have become disillusioned over the last 10 years because of the mismanagement of the economy, should not put you in a position to decide that you will distance yourself in the process. You cannot enter this life having found it one way, Greg, and attempt to exit it and have not contributed to anything, any meaningful thing that would cause you to say, when you have departed this life, that my daughter, my son
is the legacy.
You understand me? I have finished my journey, and this is my part that I have played to ensuring that these lives, the lives of these individuals, are no better off by my participation.
Patrick, thank you so much. There was, trust me, it was a mouthful, and I know we've had an eventful last week, but I just want to thank you for coming on Tea Time. And people, Tea Time is a show where we interview all the business persons and anyone on this island who's contributing in any form or fashion, where we sit down and we have open discussions. That is the mandate of Tea Time with Greg. And once again, Patrick, thank you for joining me. And look out for Daddy Bubbles this Saturday on Happy Hour. And that will be lots of fun. And Cheyenne will also be dropping her song on Happy Hour that day. So stay tuned for more. This is Tea Time with Greg. Like the page, Tea Time and Happy Hour on Facebook. Like me, Greg Williams on Facebook. Share the page, write and comment after, because I usually look back at everything. And feel free to be a part of this process, because it is Facebook Live and it is about the persons, the voters, the viewers, everything that we have going on here. And Tea Time is not just about being political, but this is the political season at this point. But stay tuned for more from Tea Time with Greg.